there is a problem. So can we get that commitment on record? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and Vice Chair. First, I want to say it is good to note and to, get to know what is really happening. And I want to say I want to commit myself together with my executive that they appear before the county assembly whenever they are required to give certain reports or clarifications.
Okay, I think we may proceed. So County Assembly, just take note of our conversation. We are not saying that once you have considered this, you should not do it. It's still your duty. It's a concurrent mandate, but just make sure that there is some alignment on recommendations so that we do not say that a matter is outstanding and then you say it is closed when you do your interrogation. So then let's go to the report of the Auditor General for the County Executive of Uasin Gishu for the year ended 30th June 2023. We have had the opportunity to go through this report for about an hour and a half with the various stakeholders. So we are fairly familiar with a number of the issues that have been raised there. There are a few issues which the Auditor General has indicated have been dealt with to their satisfaction. So we'll not waste a lot of time on those areas. The first, so Auditor General, what was your opinion on the financial statements?
Thank you, Chair. The financial statements were fairly done. However, we have an issue with the...
Was it qualified, unqualified, adverse or disclaimer?
It was qualified opinion.
Okay, so what was the basis of that opinion?
We had issues with the financial statements.
So let's start from the financial statement issues. It is our desire, and we have already discussed this, that we are going to spend as little time as possible on financial statement issues. Because where you have financial statement problems, then you've got a problem with the professionals in that organization. And we'll pronounce ourselves very easily and very quickly on that. We'll spend more time on issues of projects. We'll spend more time on issues of revenue. And the IFMIS financial statement issues, I do not want them to take most of our time. Because those ones, if they are wrong, they are wrong. There's nothing else that you can do about it. So the first issue is a variance between financial statements and IFMIS. It appears in 2022, 2023, and 2021, 2022. So it's a systemic problem in Uasin Gishu. Auditor General, you have your finding there, you have your tables there. We have the response from the county saying that it was a classification issue, that the aggregate numbers are the same. Is that the case?
Yes, Chair.
Now, Governor, even if that was the explanation, why is it that when given the window to post transactions, to do reconciliations, the Auditor General still finds these classification problems?
Thank you, Chair. Let me give the CEC Finance, because it's a technical person.
It was not reconciled, isn't it?
Point of order, Chair.
Senator,
I get very worried on the very first question when the governor hands over to somebody else. That question that was asked was not a technical question, Governor. It's a very simple question. If you are, an opportunity is availed for you to provide documents, why don't you provide documents? That's not a technical statement. That is a question that you as a county executive should answer yourself.
Governor, I think that's a fair intervention. Okay. You must address it, and if there's a technical aspect, then you can hand over to your technical team. Because this problem is in this report, it's in the prior year report, it's been a running issue. So, and we are no longer seeing this problem in many counties. So what is it about Uasin Gishu?
Just the way you have said, Chair, it could be systemic because these are two financial years running on, and I've taken note. The next time you will not hear of this case, please.
No, I think it's important when we are here for us to get the root cause. Is it a problem of staff? because it definitely cannot be a problem of system connectivity. Fiber runs all the way to Eldoret. Yeah, because if it's a problem of staff, then we must leave this place with a commitment that you're going to take administrative action or disciplinary action, or you are going to take whatever kind of action. That's the commitment we need to get out of here.
Chairman, thank you very much. Because this is purely staff and administrative, I'm ready to take administrative action. I'm ready to make a follow-up and make sure that we never come back to the same issue, year in, year out. And I want to make a commitment on the same.
Now,
Honorable members, Senator Sifuna.
OIG, the query here was the management did not provide reconciliation statements for the variances. In these voluminous annexures, have you seen those reconciliation statements?
Thank you, Senator. They tried to reconcile, but there were historical issues. There were historical variances, which the county has stated that they are cleaning up. Under the cleaning up of the IFMIS, amounts has not been complete. It's an ongoing. They are ongoing with the cleanup.
When you query a lack of provision of reconciliation statements, which documents address that query? You know, you are speaking to a layman in financial matters. I'm not a technical person in finance. I'm a lawyer. When you say they did not provide reconciliation statements, am I being wrong to expect that they should give you reconciliation statements?
Yes, exactly.
So are there reconciliation statements in these documents?
They were not able to reconcile because there were some historical balances which have been carried forward and in the process of cleaning
When
up.
you talk of historical, how far back are we going?
2019, 2020. In the previous report of
So the documents do not.
And also the same transactions should be recorded in IFMIS. So there is a difference between what is in the IFMIS and what is in the counties.
Yeah, I understand the problem. We are looking for the solution.
Yes.
If they are not able to reconcile transactions from 2019, this is 5 years later. Do you really think it will ever be done?
They have stated that in the current year, 2024-25, it shall be done.
I think what the county must confirm, you are presented to us Annex 1A. What is the reason for Annex 1A? What does it explain? We start from there. So, because I think that's what Senator Sifuna is looking for. And what is Annex 1A? Senator Mandago?
Yes, Chair. And I don't know, Auditor. You know, when you say historical, are you able to segregate? Because you see, if there was an issue of reconciliation in 2019, are you able to segregate that amount that was not able to be reconciled? Because when we sit in this room, I see CPA Rono is here. He has been handling all those finances for that period of time. He's still there. I see the county secretary is there. When it comes to provision of documents, I don't think it should be an issue. Are you able to segregate what you are calling historical and what is current?
Yes, Senator.
Maybe, Chair, in addition to that, just a quick, as you answer OAG, I have heard the governor saying he will take administrative action. From your own observation, what is the root cause? Is it capacity and ability of the staff that work within, because reconciliations are matter? Number two, if it is about IFMIS, I expected the governor to tell us whether they have written even to National Treasury to clean up the IFMIS Integrated Financial and Management Information System. So from your own observation as an independent eye, can you be able to pinpoint what could be the real reason on this issue from your interaction with the documents?
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. To answer Senator Mandago, the amounts which are historical are in the financial statements of 2021-2022. To answer Senator Cheragay, The county is staffed, the finance department of the county is staffed with the competent accountants, so it is not an issue of capacity. What I would attribute it to is documentation. Probably they do not have all the documentation required to expedite this cleaning up process.
OAG, we have the documents before us. So in the financial statements of 2021-2022, which page are you talking about? We want to see what those items are.
Page 2.
Page?
2.
Page 2 of the financial statements.
The auditor's report.
Page 2.
Oh, yeah. Inaccuracies in financial statements.
You are looking at the prior year report?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what you referred to.
Yes, because that matter appeared in the prior year. Now, I think some of these questions ought to be answered by the county, not the Office of the Auditor General, because that is where the responsibility lies for accuracy of facts. When we did our update earlier, the only reason why I thought this is a matter we could dispense with quickly is that the Auditor General tells me that the overall expenditure totals in financial statements and IFMIS are the same. So there's a difference in classification. But the differences are so gross that it would go beyond differences in classification. For example, you have receipts reflected in the financial statements of 9.3 billion. But in IFMIS, it's 9.9 billion, bringing a difference of 654 million. Someone who does not understand what is going on here might assume that you received 9.9 billion, but only reported 9.3 billion. And so 654 million was lost. That is the conclusion someone would derive if they do not get an explanation. So I think what you need to explain to us is that, fine, this 654 million, which is a variance on receipts between IFMIS and financial statements, it was a misclassification, and so when you go to Annex 1, this is how we have explained it. So I'm taking you back to your annexures. Can you show us where this 654 million is, where it was reclassified into the right account, so that I can be satisfied that the expenditure in the two systems, financial statement and IFMIS, the aggregate is the same, and there is no fear that there was loss of funds. Even before we go to the broader IFMIS issues, I think you, Governor, you must explain that in the annexures 1A, 1B, and 1C that you have presented. OAG?
Thank you, Chair. Just to add on what you've said, that annexure 1A that you have just referred to is not signed. Our expectation is that that document ought to have been signed to allow or to show ownership, including the subsequent records that are attached to it. Thank you, Chair.
My copy is signed by
1A.
My copy is signed by
did
Chief
we
Officer.
circulate different documents? Because mine is signed on 23rd of September, 2024. Is it the same?
Mine is signed by the Chief Officer
Or date?
on 23rd September 2024 and the Head of Treasury.
So then I think the Auditor General ought to get, we need to be on the same page. But Governor, so you and your technical team, can we deal with this very quickly? We have bigger issues. We have bigger issues to, can you just show us how, for example, on that row of receipts, which annexure shows how you reclassified it, and whether the receipt should be 9.9 billion or 9.3 billion? If we just picked that.
Thank you, Chair. Let me give the CC, please.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, allow me first to make a comment on the same. That, Honorable Chair, we have a competent team in county government of Uasin Gishu.
Just proceed to demonstrate it. You don't need to explain it.
Yes. So, Honorable Chair, what we did is we, you may not get a particular document that will show that 654, that variance, Honorable Chair, but we have done a cleanup on all issues, and this issue, Honorable Chair, will not be in this year's financial statements.
What is a figure for receipts for that financial year? What is a certified figure for receipts? Did you receive 9.9 billion or 9.3 billion?
9.3 billion, Honorable Chair.
So in IFMIS, there is 9.9 billion.
Yes.
So what happens to the 600 million between IFMIS and your financial statements? Because as I said, to a third party, someone might assume that you received 9.9 billion and only reported 9.3 billion. How do you address that? The people of Uasin Gishu are watching. That 654 million, what does it relate to?
So, Honorable Chair, as I said, the difference is basically caused because of some unaccounted for transactions, let's say in IFMIS. If you do a transaction in IFMIS, and maybe that transaction did not go through, it remains.
So shouldn't you then provide a schedule as part of your annexures that these are those unaccounted transactions totaling to 654 million?
Absolutely, Chair, and I'm sorry about that.
Is it before us?
No, it's not before you. But I agree, Honorable Chair, and that's the basis of how we did our reconciliation, so that this issue...
So do you still want to explain the competence of the team?
Okay. But
when you come to the Senate, you get an opportunity to clarify things. If I was a good propagandist, I would say that 654 million was stolen. Because IFMIS showed 9.9 billion.
Yes.
And your financial statements showed 9.3 billion. This is an arena where you demonstrate to the world that 654 million perhaps relates to hanging balances in the system over the years.
I agree, Honorable Chair, 100%. And what we did after, remember when we were here the last time, we took this Honorable Committee's word very seriously. We went, we did the reconciliation. In this current financial year, 23-24, this issue will not be there, Chair.
So tell us what Annex 1A, 1B, and 1C, how we are going to use it to close this matter. Are they relevant?
Annex 1A is the IFMIS receipts and payment statement.
So, for example, the first one, the first record there, what does it tell us? How is it relevant to the matter before us?
Honorable Chair, it was basically addressing the several entries in this question.
So, for example, that first sheet, which account does it relate to?
Annex 1A is the IFMIS statement for receipts and payment. That's the entire report. It shows all the transactions.
Which one shows, honorable members, are you able to relate the relevance of these annexures to the query?
Chairman, we will go back to that question of competence. As you said yourself, it is not explained, it's demonstrated. You should be able to tell us what your document is and how it is relevant to the question that has been asked about the variances. How does it explain the variances?
So, Honorable Chair, so the document shows all the transactions that were in IFMIS, that went through IFMIS.
Are we looking at this same document? You know, we have history in this committee, and this is something that is confirmed every time, Senator Chair. When you come to this meeting and you see volumes on the table, just know the county is trying to confuse you. They don't even know what is in these volumes themselves. And this suspicion is always proven right, every single time. When you see volumes like this, people are trying to be clever. So, your own document, I don't know if I'm looking at the right one, The very first document here. What is this document? It has no title. It just starts with current period to compare with, then financial assets. Is that the same document we're looking at?
Yes, Honorable Chair,
So
the same
how is
document.
it relevant to the conversation we're having?
As I said, Chair, the variances were between the IFMI statement and the financial statement.
Okay, so we should have the two of them before us, right?
Yes.
So that we see the variance. So this is the IFMI statement.
Yes.
Where is the financial statement?
Is it the first time for this gentleman to look at these documents? Because they look like we are reading from the same wavelength.
Now, you see, if you might need to go back to your first admission that you didn't do what was expected of you. What you are supposed to do was to analyze, to break down those variances. Now, if it's not here, then you can just say it's not here. And then we ask you and the Auditor General to engage in that exercise. Because I initially took comfort when the Auditor General told me that the aggregate sum is okay. But there's still a problem in the classification, in the details. So, Governor, is that explanation here or it's not here? So that we agree that we expunge these annexures 1, A, B, C, and then between you and the Auditor General, you do an exercise to confirm those big variances of 654 million and 1 billion that are running across that schedule.
Chair, I don't think anything is lost. Allow me also to give the Director, Finance, to explain his bit, because this information is gotten from every technical person.
Yes, let it be explained by referring to the records that are before us, not a story, because this is a house of record.
Thank you, Chair. I want to clarify that Annex 1A is the statement of assets and liabilities that was generated from IFMIS, showing that we've done the corrections in IFMIS up to 2022-23, and that what we generated in IFMIS currently balances, even though we still have the challenge of the line items, but the total figure now balances. Like if you see the net assets is 337,825,258, which balances with the net financial position at 337,825,258. So that document explains that. Thank you.
Governor, we only have this as a point of reference. Any explanation must refer to what the Auditor General has queried. That's why the Auditor General picked this specific issue. If you're telling me about assets, I'm seeing a row there on acquisition of assets where there's a variance of 168 million. So how do you deal with that? The variance quoted in the last column. It was a very easy exercise for you guys to do.
Chair, we were just demonstrating the progress that we've done so far. We are not yet there, but we wanted to explain how far we are in the correction of these errors.
So you are saying it is not done. You are still.
But we want to, Chair, we want to promise that in the financial year that ended June this year.
Before we are the ones to give to agree whether we are taking promises. So what we have is work in progress, or what we have is a final outcome.
Chair, it's work in progress.
Okay. Senator Sifuna, then Senator Mandago.
I just wanted to ask, so which document shows us where you are in terms of demonstration of progress? What is the figure that remains to be reconciled? Where can I see that?
Chair, I think we don't have those documents at the moment.
So how are we supposed to ascertain progress? Because progress would be that you tell us you started with a variance of 900 million, you have reconciled 500 million, and there is a balance of 400 million that you're working on. Isn't that how you demonstrate progress?
Yeah, yes, Chair.
So where are those documents that demonstrate that progress? Or we are supposed to take your word for it? And I am very averse to promises from Uasin Gishu.
Yeah, Governor, tell your officer not to be like Mutuse. If you don't know, you don't know.
Please direct it.
Senator Mandago.
Point of order, Chair.
Point of order.
Point of order.
What does it mean?
Under Statement 105, can Senator Sifuna prove that there have been other promises from Uasin Gishu have not been fulfilled? I think it is very dangerous to allow that statement to remain on record.
Senator Sifuna, but Senator Mandago, please proceed.
We can be misinterpreted.
Okay.
Uasin Gishu has
Chair,
very good people.
Sifuna should not bring matters that are not for this committee, in this committee, Chair. You must also protect the image of the county. But I wanted to ask the
Yeah, I have some
Chair.
suggestions. What is it that you know that we don't know?
You know you are still a stranger, so first introduce yourself.
Thank you, Chair. My
Senator
name is
Gataya.
Senator Mwenda Gataya, that I can be the member of this committee.
Can we allow the other senators also to go on record so that they can be part of the conversation? Senator Dulo?
Fatuma Dulo, Senator Isiolo, and a member of this committee.
And the Field Marshal?
I feel extremely attacked, but I'm very, very happy to be back after a very rough week. My name is John Medhu, a Senator of the Republic of Kenya from Nyandarua County in the Great Mount Kenya region. Thank you.
Nyandarua is in Rift Valley. But also, why are you denying Rift Valley? You are part of Rift Valley.
Order, honorable members.
No, the divorce was complete last week.
Let's go back to the numbers. Senator Mandago.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. What I wanted to ask, because Senator Sifuna was asking about progress, probably from the CC Finance or the Director, because we are dealing with reconciliation, and there are specific items there the Auditor General has picked. Do you have explanation? For example, if we say there is a variance of 168 million 9,380 in acquisition of assets, do we have a breakdown of why the variance? Because that would explain the progress, so that you would say, out of 168, probably we've been able to reconcile 100. We have a balance of 68 that we are still in reconciliation. Do we have such kind of an itemized so that progress can be measured and checked?
That has been the question from the beginning.
Director, please.
Thank you, Chair. These are balances that have accrued all along. And these balances are accrued due to commitments that were probably done in IFMIS, but were not cleaned up over time. So that is the exercise that we've been doing in trying to remove these commitments that were not removed over time so that the figures tie. I want to say that we don't have the actual the breakdowns of those figures because it was a cleanup of the system trying to remove those items. Thank you.
You are making it worse. You are making it worse because, from my understanding, that detail must exist. You can go to IFMIS, extract a schedule totaling to 1.7 billion for acquisition of assets. You can go to your financial statements, extract a detailed schedule totaling to 1.6 billion. And you can even use Excel, lookup, to compare the records in the two systems and say that these 4 or 5 items are in IFMIS, but they're not in the financial statement. Surely, this is this one you don't need to be an accountant. You just need to understand
Chair,
Excel.
Please also put it in the context of the time period that we are talking of. Because if I had the Auditor General correctly, they said that these are historical issues from 2019. If it takes the so-called competent workers in the county government 5 years to do that exercise referred to, which is a fairly straightforward exercise, there is reason to worry, Governor. And even when you make promises, then you must tell us. Because if I don't know how much progress you've made over 5 years, I cannot extrapolate and understand how long it will take for them to complete that exercise. So sitting there, and again, very careful with promises. What time period do you anticipate that this exercise will be concluded?
Chair, and secondly, I think, Chair, to make progress, Governor himself has accepted that he will take administrative action. So this is the highest level of incompetence. So I don't think why, unless, and I want to agree with Sifuna, that that promise must be fulfilled by showing us evidence of administrative action. Because they have already, the governor himself, who is the chief executive, has accepted there is a problem. So he needs to tell us the administrative action, and maybe, Chair, report in the first quarter, or the second quarter of this financial year, the officers, and then, Chair, since we have agreed, you have heard the OAG saying that they have competent accountants, then we write to the ISPA the way we do, so that they can be punished for professional misconduct.
OAG, are you still on site for the current year audit?
Yes, Chair. Currently, we have completed the India, and probably mid next month, we shall be doing the final audit of Uasin Gishu Executive.
And so is this a matter that can still be looked at within the scope of the audit that is ongoing?
Yes, Chair. Every year they should furnish us with the IFMIS statements of receipts and expenditure, and we are supposed to compare it with what is in the financial statements and their books of accounts.
So we'll deal with this at two levels. One, we must write a report on these findings, and it covers 22, 23, 21, 22. Governor, your officers must furnish the Auditor General with that breakdown that we are talking about. And as I've said, unless you guys run systems that nobody understands, but any proper basic system, you can extract a schedule from one system, from another, compare, and isolate the historical figures. It's supposed to be a very straightforward matter. Can you, or how long do you need to provide that to the Auditor General? 7 days?
Yeah, 1 week, that's 7 days.
Yeah, so ultimately you are the CEO, you are the one to ensure that this is done, because if we don't get that breakdown, by the time we are retreating to do our report, we will reach the conclusion that those variances are as a result of mismanagement of public resources.
Chair, allow me to make a correction. Let's give us 2 weeks.
14 days?
Please.
Okay, Auditor General, please make sure that in those 14 days, if they present the schedules, analyze them, then you can advise us on when we are doing our report. But Governor, if we don't get that analysis, then I think we will make the same conclusion that a man on the street would make, that where there's a variance between two systems, there has been theft of public resources. Could we then proceed to the next issue? So that deals with a related issue in the prior year. We shall use the same prescription. Auditor General, use of goods and services. I think there were two issues there which you mentioned were outstanding, the legal fees and the insurance costs.
Yes, Chair.
Read your finding on legal fees.
The statement of receipts and payments and note 4 to the financial statements reflects use of goods and services amount of 2,480,235 shillings, which includes other operating expenses amount of 195,780,721 shillings. The other operating expenses further include legal services expenses amount of 6,220,000 shillings, which was incurred on the hire of a private legal consultant. However, the procurement records confirming that the legal services were competitively sourced, details of the cases handled and status of the cases, amount paid and outstanding balances, evidence of court attendance, and case files showing the value of the cases were not provided for audit review. In the circumstances, the accuracy and completeness and regularity of the legal services expenses amount of 6.22 million could not be confirmed.
Okay, on this, maybe we'll allow the Governor to read his response, because OAG, you said that you are not satisfied with the response. Okay, proceed, Governor.
Okay, Chair. Management response that the private legal consultant, in this case is a law firm of Mulondo and Company Advocates, instructed to defend the county government and in a court case being Eldoret High Court Civil Case number 14 of 2019, Shenabal Limited versus County Government of Uasin. The case was referred to arbitration, being arbitration cause number 2 of 2020. Shenabal Limited versus County Government of Uasin, and the same law firm continued defending the interest of the county government. Secondly, the expenditure of Kenya shillings 2,220,000 was legal fees pursuant to a fee not raised by Mulondo and Company Advocates. The law firm is in the list of pre-qualified law firms to provide legal services to the county. The law firm and the county government entered into a service level agreement, what you call SLA, for provision of legal services. To support payment made, the following documents are availed. 1, payment voucher of Kenya shillings 6,220,000. Letter from the county attorney to Chief Officer Public Service Management dated 25th October 2022. Letter of instructions dated 26th June 2019 to Mulondo and Company Advocates, and the legal opinion dated 29th May 2019 from Mulondo and Company Advocates. Service level agreement dated 4th of January 2021. Fee note from Mulondo and Company Advocates dated 4th June 2019. Court proceedings and arbitration proceedings correspondence. There are then all the annexures are there. 2A, which is a copy of pre-qualified legal services. 2B, copy of service level agreement. And 2C, copy of payment vouchers with supporting documents.
Auditor General, you noted that there was still a lingering query. What is outstanding, having considered those annexures and the response from the county?
Thank you, Chair. The final outcome of this particular case, where we had queried outstanding balances, but this particular issue was referred to arbitration. So from there, we have no more information on this matter.
So what do you want the county to explain further?
Whether there is, how this matter, whether it has been concluded, and whether any other expenditure has been incurred.
For the expenditure of 6.22 million, that payment was made in the financial year under review?
Yes, Chair.
Is it your view that that payment was for a valid service rendered?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, so what's pending?
Documents had not been provided at that time, but they have been provided. The final outcome of this particular issue.
Okay.
Chair, maybe I agree with OAG because arbitration is also a process where there should be an award and conclusion of the matter. So maybe the governor should tell us the status update where there was an award given or what were the, and you know arbitration is still a representation. Whether further payments were made to Mulondo and Company Advocates. I've seen in Annex 2A the payment and also the contract and also the list of pre-qualified legal law firms that Mulondo was part of it. But I agree with the auditor that what was the final outcome? Because I thought, Chair, when it is referred to arbitration, it should end quickly as opposed as to the normal litigation process. And of course, Mulondo would not be doing arbitration free of charge. I think they must be. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Senator Sifuna?
No, Chair, I'm looking at this annexure 2C, which contains the invoice, and the good thing with the invoices from advocates, they will always specify the value of the subject matter, which is the basis for the calculation of legal fees. If I'm not wrong, the total value, this case involves procurement of graders, I think, for a total sum of 40 million. 40 million 700, so it's 40.7 million. There's a pro forma invoice attached to 2C. Are we together? Yes. Vice Chair. You have become Mutuse.
Are you with us?
Honorable Chair, what strikes me is that if you look at the total value of the contract, which is the total value of the subject matter, it's 40 million shillings, yet the advocate is charging 6 million shillings, 6.2 million shillings for legal fees. That is more than 10%. These service level agreements that you have, I think there is one here. Doesn't it make any reference to the advocate's remuneration order? Number 3, your honored contract is at 2B. On page 3 of that contract, it addresses payment. For services rendered pursuant to this contract, the procuring entity shall pay the law firm as per the advocate's remuneration order. Are we together, Governor? Is 6 million shillings payment against the total contract sum of 40 million shillings in accordance with the advocate's remuneration order?
Okay, CC Finance.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think...
And as CC Finance response, is a county attorney in the delegation?
No.
Because the County Attorneys Act has elevated the county attorney to CC member status, such that another CC member ought not to be responding on such matters. Because they are, if you look at your contingent liability register, you've got 423 cases in court. And the issue of legal fees cuts across the 2 financial years. So it's a very substantive matter that we need to discuss. Is he in the building or is absolutely
Actually,
absent?
Chairman, his term ended. Since advertised for another county attorney.
So there's no substantive county attorney?
There's no, but we have a Solicitor General who is not in now.
No, Chair, but I thought under the County Attorney Act, which I midwife, you are supposed to have an established staff establishment within the county attorney. So how many lawyers or advocates do you have in your legal department?
Who can take over in the absence of the county attorney?
But Governor, do you have any advocates within the legal department apart from the county attorney and the county solicitor?
County Secretary, yes, we have. Let County Secretary explain.
So none of them is here?
None is here.
Okay, maybe you can go back to Senator Sifuna's question.
Okay, yeah, so there's CC Finance. Proceed.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chair. I think in terms of that, I think probably the county solicitor would have answered that part of the question. I may not be able to answer that, whether...
Yeah, but yes. You can just give us a comment.
Yes. But as
paying for a dispute that is valued at 40 million Kenya shillings, if you pay 6.2 million shillings in legal fees alone, and your own records here are showing us that, in fact, this entire arbitration was conducted online through Google Meet. That is what you have attached here. I am a lawyer and I am not against lawyers being paid, but honestly speaking, Governor, 6 million shillings, is that in accordance with the advocate's remuneration order? And this is an arbitration that is being done through Google Meet, an online platform, during the period when we had COVID, nobody's moving anywhere. Is that a fair use of the resources of the people of Uasin Gishu?
Maybe CEO Finance.
Oh no, Governor. I don't know how I can.
I'm not saying that.
Just as a Kenyan, and who knows the problems of the people of Uasin Gishu, does it look fair to you to pay 6 million shillings for an arbitral process that is concerning 40 million Kenya shillings?
Again, Senator, it is good to also understand, when did this thing start?
Governor, address the chair. Address the chair. Yeah.
Sorry, Chair, you know it's facing me, so. Well, I think you have a valid point that 6 million could be on the higher side. But at the same time, it is good to be fair and see when did this arbitration start? When did the process start? Could be that time that the lady gave us this figure. So I want the CEO of Finance.
How is time relevant? What is the relevance of when the arbitration started in terms of the cost of the legal proceedings?
Okay, I think you have a valid point. So how do you want me to answer that? Because naturally, it could be more. But there could be some reason why it is 6.6 as stated.
Governor, Governor, please restrict yourself to the question and avoid that direction that you are taking that would sound like you want to pass the ball to somebody else.
No.
You are the CEO. Your government exists in perpetuity. And if the question Senator Sifuna is asking is it value for money to pay 6 million in lieu of a contract that was worth 40.7 million?
Chair, it is not.
Now, why do you say it is not? If this company went to court, because I've seen the legal opinion which you have attached here, Shanibal versus County Government of Uasin, Gishu, civil case number 14 of 2019. And I've seen a legal opinion drafted by Mulondo and Company advocate. The reason you went for arbitration, it would appear, if you read that legal opinion, is that ultimately the courts were most likely to enter a ruling in favor of the company. So what did you stand to lose? Because that's how you measure value for money. It's not just about saying 6 million was what value. You must explain to us that if this matter went ahead to litigation, full litigation, what was the potential exposure of the county? So that you weigh that against the 6 million. That is the direction you should take, not that other direction you wanted to take.
Okay, thank you very much. This is a very technical case because it requires a mind of a lawyer. And at the same time, we have our county secretary here who has institutional memory on the same. Allow me, Chair, that he can even respond.
Okay, and let the response be restricted to value for money. Value for money, not stories of time. Value for money.
On procedural, since Governor like referring to some of the specific officers, I think it will reach a point they need to take an oath, just like the governor, so that, it's only governor who took an oath, so that the other officers might not mislead us, Chair. Because another question I would ask whether these loaders or wheeler loaders were finally delivered to the county secretary as he answered that. But if it goes like this, Chair, I'll request that they take an oath so that we take the award seriously, so that in case they lie, of course, the perjury shall come in. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Senator Mofa.
Chair, it's something very interesting to capture, Governor, say that, the question is just outright. Was there value for money when you pay 6 million? Is it 6 million or something? 6.2 million. Was it really worth that? That one doesn't even require a lawyer to answer that question.
Yeah, because value for money is what you paid.
That's a pedestrian question. Anybody from Rift Valley would want to know that kind of arrangement. How did it come about?
Weighed against the potential exposure.
Even a Mamamboga in the streets.
Chair, I've said it was not worth.
What was
it was not.
What was the potential exposure? Maybe you as county secretary can comment. Because what we are seeing here is 40 million. But what was if the matter went to full litigation, what was the potential exposure?
Honorable Chair, thank you. I think when I look at it, probably the exposure would have even been more than 40 million because there would be other claims like interest and all that, and penalties.
So has a matter been settled with finality, having paid the 6 million?
Yes, I think we have attached the arbitration proceedings.
Where is the arbitral finding, the award?
Yeah, because if it has been closed, then that might provide some assurance. But if it's still open to litigation and arbitration, then we will come back to the conclusion that a different decision ought to have been made. So where is the arbitral finding, as you've said?
We have the last document in that annexure is the arbitration proceedings. That's 2C.
My brother, Governor, please confirm to me that your staff are competent and they can tell the difference between arbitral proceedings and an arbitral award. Officer who's speaking, does he know the difference between those two things?
Because that is what the Auditor General says they haven't seen. Auditor General, isn't that why you raised this matter? You don't know where the matter lies. Yeah, so just provide us with that. Is it on file? I'm seeing arbitral proceedings, which is more of a Hansard.
Yes. Where is the award? The resolution.
In fact, Honorable Chair, that document you're looking at is a preliminary meeting of that arbitration.
Because mention
it does not even...
Yeah, mention was set for September 2020, at the conclusion of that.
Yes.
So it is not conclusive.
In fact, Mr. Wilson Kali was the arbitrator.
Governor, again, these things are fairly straightforward. Do we have that?
Yeah, Chair, it is not here, but we'll avail it.
Is it available?
It is available.
You speaking on oath, can you confirm to the Senate that this matter has been settled to finality?
Yes, it's available. We will provide for it.
Okay, so what was the finding of the arbitration? What did the arbitrator find?
County Secretary, please.
Because these were fees to the advocate. What about the other party? How much was the other party entitled to?
It depends on the award.
Yes.
Chair, let the governor tell us what the outcome of the arbitration was as we wait for the award, the document itself to be provided. If he's not aware, he can just say he's not aware, he doesn't remember.
I'm not really aware of most of those.
Is there any officer from your side who knows how the arbitration ended?
County Secretary. County Secretary.
County Secretary, please.
We are a house of record. And that's why Senator Cherargei is saying that we might need to put some officers on oath so that whatever averments they make here are taken to be true and nothing but the truth. Governor, this is a very, very simple matter. Just provide the records to confirm that this matter has been settled. And if it has not been settled, then we will make recommendations in line with your question on value for money. If it's not here, then we are not going to entertain stories. You just tell us that you can provide the records in 7 days, and we direct as such.
Please, we will provide, Chairman.
Senator
Chair, in a final observation, as Senator Sifuna say, whenever county officials bring documents, they think we are very busy not reading. We have read serious issues, including what happened last week. Chair, what I just mentioned, if you look at this Kukul bit, Mr. Wilson Kalia is the arbitrator, but he is also a pre-qualified among the lawyers that are supposed to provide legal services for the county for the county executive of Uasin Gishu, because the governor has provided a list of law firms that are pre-qualified. But when you come before this matter, Mr. Kali appears on behalf of the arbitrator. So is it not interesting? I thought that's the observation that the committee should note. I thank you, Chair.
Senator Mandago.
Yes, just as an inquiry, Chair. You know, if the county attorney's term has ended, I expected that 6 months prior to the term, the position should have been advertised, and by now we should be having a new county attorney. However, that notwithstanding, do we have an officer acting as the county attorney in that position?
So we have.
There's an acting county attorney?
Whoever is acting is now a county solicitor.
Okay, Senator Cherargei, your issue around Kalia, has it been addressed?
No, it has not been addressed. I wanted to find out from the governor. Is in arbitrating this matter, yet he appears as one of your pre-qualified law firms that you can see the legal services. Don't you think this was direct conflict of interest because they can collude? And then number two, you say this county solicitor. Is the county solicitor acting as also the county attorney? Thank you, Chair.
You know, Honorable Chair, the question that Senator Cherargei raises is a matter that would only be clear to this committee if we had the arbitral award. Because if this company is taken to an arbitration before somebody who is pre-qualified to act for the county and actually act for the county, that is obvious reason for disqualification of the arbitrator. Correct. So it is quite interesting that the county government itself does not know how this arbitration ended. And the reason we are insisting on how the arbitration ended, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chair, is because it has a bearing on the fees. It has a bearing on the fees. And when you see, there's an internal memo here that has been attached on the back page of 2C. An internal memo coming from the county attorney to the Chief Officer Public Service Management. And interestingly, the last line here is forwarding the invoice of the advocate of 6.2 million shillings. And the county attorney is the one saying the amount of 6.2 million shillings is modest and within the advocate's remuneration order. Honorable Chair, that is why this county attorney should be here before this committee. So that because we are all familiar with the remuneration order, he should be the one to tell us how did he arrive at this conclusion that this is modest fee note of 6 million against a matter whose value is only 40 million.
Governor, where were you on 25th of October 2022?
Chair,
had you taken oath of office? 5th of October 2022. 25th of October 2022.
Yes, I had taken oath of office.
Okay, so you are squarely in the scene of crime.
And in addition to what Senator Sifuna, I think some lawyers or advocates who misbehave this way should also be reported to LSK, just the way we report to ISPA. Because this lane is somebody that his service has been checkered, and the county secretary. There is a time that Lane was out of office. When Governor B came on office, you colluded with him to report back to office, and you can see the incompetence.
Chair, let me put it straight.
No, Governor, that's not your question.
No, I feel I should make some clarification.
No, just to the county secretary. I'm aware that this Lane at some point was not in office before the current governor came in. But when he came in, you colluded to come back. You can see the incompetence and the mess that is subjecting the county to.
Okay, I think let's find a way of proceeding, because if it's bad, it's bad. If it can be explained, it should be explained. Unfortunately, we are not getting the explanations we need. Governor, you said you wanted to clarify something?
The day we processed this was 25th, and it was on the advice of the county attorney. So the other remaining I'm asking that you give us 7 days so that we can see the document that concludes that arbitrary.
Does it exist?
Yes, it exists.
Fine. We direct that you present that for scrutiny, because failure to do so, we will reach the adverse conclusion that there was no value for money, and this was a case of theft of public resources. But, Governor, we also need to be careful because this is a second matter we have dealt with, and it's a second matter where we are asking for more documents and more time. So I think if that becomes a trend, then we must take a view on whether we should proceed or whether we should allow you to put together all the documentation that is required. Honourable Senators, unless there's any other observation on this,
even as we wait for the response on the final outcome of the arbitration, we should take cognizant fact of the role of the former county attorney. If it finds necessary, he should also appear before this before this committee, because if he is saying that it is modest, you are charging 6.2 million against 40 million, then it is very unfortunate. So I think the committee at some point we must sanction the former county attorney Lel on this matter. I thank you, Chair.
Okay, so we shall.
I'm not sure, Chair, whether. Sorry, just 1 second. Whether the question that was asked by Senator Mandago was answered on whether we have an acting county secretary.
He said yes.
Okay.
We have the county secretary, but acting county attorney. Yeah, okay.
Okay. There is, as we get out of legal expenses, in your report on page 43, where you have listed your contingent liabilities, you have 423 cases. Now, that is a matter of great concern. I think even at your last appearance, we must have dealt with contingent liabilities coming from Uasin Gishu. 423 cases, that is more than 1 case per day. How are you structured internally to be able to handle all these cases and to prevent the avoidable expenses of using external advocates? Because that was the rationale for the County Attorneys Act. Governor, as a CEO, I think this is your question.
Chair, thank you, Chair. The last time I appeared, we had almost 700 cases. But to date, at least you see we've made progress. We are remaining with 400 cases. That time we didn't have Solicitor General. Right now we've employed him and he's really busy fast-tracking these cases.
How did you move from 700 to 400 cases in a year? Because there must have been determination, there must have been, because cases don't just die because you deleted them from the schedule.
But the fact is it was 700, now it is 400. So I would wish that we have Solicitor General and the legal team to explain to us. Yeah, but we will give you the progressive report.
Governor, the last time we had that conversation, we dealt with it from an advisory perspective.
Yes.
And because we told you, you must have visibility on the cases that involve the county. Because I'm sure some of them go back to defunct local authority days. And really, you ought to be satisfied that if you had inherited 700 cases, now 400 are the ones that that meet, it's not even about meeting the threshold. If there were 700 cases at the point of assumption of office, and now there are 400, you should demonstrate that there were 300 cases that were determined, and that's why they dropped out of the contingent liabilities register. I don't know whether there's any other magic.
No, there's no magic.
Moving from 700 to 400.
Chair, you are very right. And because we all live in this country, we know the pace at which court cases move. It is something that we would all want to know. How is it that cases involving Uasin Gishu County have moved that fast in terms of resolution? The danger, Chair, is something you have addressed before, where we have these cases that are filed out of collusion. Then you have consent orders being entered in where the county is paying very serious amounts of money to resolve those disputes. And that is why you're saying even we as a committee must have that visibility. And I'm getting also increasingly concerned. Governor, I must say, maybe this is the first time we have interacted. I am a bit disappointed because your colleagues come here and they can demonstrate that they have at least knowledge of everything that is happening within their county. You must keep these things inside. You must have your hands on all of these matters. It cannot be that some officer is sitting in an office somewhere, and if he's not here, you cannot be able to answer those questions. So how are those 200 cases resolved? 300?
Senator Sifuna, you look at page 11 of 42. Page 11
of?
Page 11 of this document.
Which one? Your response?
The responses.
Your response?
Yeah.
Page 11.
21-22 financial year.
Page
Ended June 2022.
of your response.
You look at the management response, it gives you the status of the cases.
Yeah, there was an audit query on cases in that financial year.
Yes, and
I am lost, Chairman.
And
financial year 21-22,
Oh, 21
page 11.
I think to contextualize it, Auditor General, you need to read that finding on pending cases against the county executive. Is that the one you are responding to?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so that we deal with them together. Auditor, what was the finding which the governor is responding to?
Page.
Chair, let's get to the query.
It was headed pending cases against the county executive, so that we handle the two issues concurrently. They're related. Auditor General, are we on the same page?
It's the report of 21-22.
Yes, your report of 21-22 on page just under key audit matters. You made a finding about 109 cases against the county executive. And when we were doing the briefing, we had agreed we are going to look at it.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Pending cases against the county executive as reported earlier.
Is your mic on?
It's on, Chair. As reported earlier, Annex 8 to the financial statements discloses 109 cases with estimated financial impact of 496 million pending against the county executive as at 30th of June 2022. Further, examinations of records provided for audit revealed that over 700 court cases were pending against the county executive. Management explained that several measures have been put in place to deal with increasing court cases, including the handling the matters in-house, operationalizing the office of the county attorney, out-of-court settlements, and establishment of an independent fund to deal with the court cases.
Governor, what was your response? Because you have referred us there.
Chairman, I was saying I wanted you to see the status as at now, that the last time we indicated over 700, almost 700 cases. Now look at the management response on the status of the cases, particulars of cases, and number of cases. That the number of cases that we won as county government is 265, cases concluded 438, cases lost 173, cases pending before courts, arbitration bodies, and tribunals 228, cases inherited from defunct municipality of Eldoret 82, cases against the county government 584, total number of cases 664. So I wanted to say we've made some progress, and that is the status as at now.
Does that 666 at the bottom add up?
Yes, it does.
It is a summation of what and what?
2 and 584. Cases inherited and cases against the county.
What about cases pending before courts, arbitration bodies, and tribunals? Shouldn't they be added?
They are part of them. They are part of 666.
They are part of 660?
6 years.
But may I know from you, Governor, is this statistics as at June of 2022 or June 2024? Because the matter was raised in the year that ended June 2022. The Auditor General raised a query that the county has over 700 cases. So in your response, you say that you have operationalized the Office of the County Attorney, you have done out-of-court settlements and the establishment of an independent fund to deal with these court cases. 2 years later, from 700, you are now at 666. So making a progress of about 34 cases. Because if you say that these statistics are as at June 2024, then that is negligible progress.
And as the governor answers clerks, maybe show us Annex 8. Annex 8 that should be having copies of county cases and their status.
Is there? Yeah.
Maybe, Chair, in addition, as the governor, and I request the governor and his officers to be noting down so that we don't lose any of the question. To the Chair, to the governor, what is the staff establishment of the Office of the County Attorney? How many advocates do you have? What is the functionality? Because we saw Kilifi has done very well. Number two, this, as Senator Mead was asked, what is the way out? What is, if you had the county solicitor, who is the acting county attorney, should have given us, what is the way out? For example, you have lost 173 cases. Was the judgment entered against the counties, and how much in case of financial, and the CCM finances here? On 173 cases lost, I've seen your contingent liabilities in your financial statements. What if these 173 were judgments were entered against the county government of Uasin Gishu? How much was it paid for? And in these cases, how many did you appeal? Or in this 173, how many cases did you appeal? And how many did you settle? And how much was it? Because in your contingent liability, in Note 9, in this financial year, I've seen you have put around 150-something million through the chair. So on this case, this one on the 2023, is Note 9. If my memory serves me, just Chair, with your indulgence, let me just go there quickly for the comfort of Field Marshal and the remnant of Mau Mau in the House. There is contingent liabilities, I don't know, that has been captured in the financial statement. I don't seem to have a view of it at the moment, but I'll just get to it. So my question is, how many did you appeal and how many did you settle, by how much, vis-a-vis your contingent liability? And finally, what is the resolution? Because now you have said the number of cases pending, according to your response, is 228, including arbitration, bodies and tribunals. There are 228 as of today, as of June, as of October. And then finally, Chair, sorry for taking long, my question number 4. These cases inherited from the defunct municipality of Eldoret, they are 82. These are historical cases. What are you doing about it so that you can be resolved? Thank you, Chair.
Governor?
Thank you, Chair. To be honest, we have on the staff establishment, we have 7 lawyers in our legal team. These are the details. Let me allow the county secretary to respond kindly.
County Secretary, be very direct to the point.
Thank you, Chair. In this Annex 8, I think there's a detailed report on all these cases, but I want to comment on the 82 cases inherited from the defunct local authorities, is that most of those cases, even the litigants are deceased, and most of them are actually dormant cases, and we are reducing them. They were higher than that.
Point of order, even if litigants are dead, the estate of the deceased takes liabilities and assets. What do you mean?
Yeah, I meant that most of them actually have stalled and they are no longer being pursued.
But it still appears.
So then, you see, the question that triggered all this conversation is how you are moving from your previous position to the current position. So in this financial year, you have given us a very detailed breakdown, which is commendable, of 666 outstanding matters. But in the subsequent financial year, there are 423. So is there a movement, a document that shows a movement from 666 to 423? Did you, because 666 and 423, that's a difference of 243.
Yes.
So the 243 cases that in our prior year and not in this year, what became of them?
Honorable Chair, I'll be straight that you will request that we will provide that information.
Now, Governor, the contingent liability is I find it to be a very important disclosure, but county officers take it for granted. You might want to go to the case of, was it Meru? Meru, where there was an award of 100 or something million because the county cancelled a lease on a hotel. And then the county decided they can't pay, they won't pay. It has grown to 700 million today. 700 million. All the on-source revenue they collect for a year would go to pay someone who has a court order because the county government did not think it was very, very important. Legal fees, you will never run away from it. So you must insist on full disclosure. Do not accept to be told that your cases have reduced from 666 to 423 without knowing how they moved, because maybe your officers are doing consents without your knowledge. You have seen 25th of October 2022, your county attorney is giving directions to pay an advocate. And that's why I asked where you are, because 25th of October, you are only 1 month in office.
True, Chair.
So it looks like legal fees is a Trojan horse in your county. And I'm not imputing improper motives on practitioners of that profession. It might not be practitioners, it could be just your officers who are opening those back doors for looting of public resources. Senator Sifuna.
Yeah, Chair, I think there's agreement across the country that you need to look at this question of legal fees in counties. And I know that I think there have been pronouncements with regards to some counties that a proper audit needs to be done just for legal fees. And I agree that even in the case of Uasin Gishu, something needs to be looked at. But there's a point you've raised from Meru on the disobedience of court orders. And I have seen even in Uasin Gishu, the county is being slapped with 10 million shillings fine for contempt of court, which tells you there was a court order that was ignored. And then now 10 million shillings again for the people of Uasin Gishu goes to for nothing. So what happens to those officers who incur such expense at the expense of the people of Uasin Gishu for ignoring court orders? And yet all of us are sworn to uphold the Constitution. I think that money should not come from the people of Uasin Gishu. That money should come from the person responsible for the refusal to obey a court order. Can see the governor nodding. Do you know the person who refused to obey that court order?
Yeah, I think I'm taking the advice. I'm not refusing anything.
The governor is smiling for the first time. He's found someone to hang. But Patrick, that answer lies in the Public Audit Act, what Senator Sifuna is saying. It empowers the Auditor General to cite any person who contributes to loss of public funds and those kind of avoidable expenditure. You can make a recommendation that they be barred from holding public office for 10 years. It is in the Public Audit Act.
Yes, Chair. And I think this year, because we are taking your recommendations and we intend to implement them, Chair, the reports of this year will be a bit very different. And we'll make sure that those recommendations are taken into account in our reports.
Yes,
so that we are able to specify so and so is responsible for these laws and they should be surcharged.
Vice Chair.
Just in 30 seconds, Governor, you have not answered me on these cases that were lost. How much was paid by the county government of Uasin Gishu? In these cases, how many cases were appealed, or did you decide to settle by entering consent? So how much was paid for these 173 cases that were lost by the county executive of Uasin Gishu? And number two, if they appeal, how many cases did you appeal as per your report that you have provided? And that is why it was important to have anybody from the county legal department. So tell us, how much did you spend on 173?
Chair, you will allow me now to look into this matter and give to table the facts.
But Chair, you had asked a question, and I think at this point, I would want to actually buttress that it is not idle that you raised an issue that if indeed in every query, the governor will request that we shall provide documents. In every query, we shall look at it. In every query, we need 7 days. Then I think the fairest thing is to allow him time to go and come with the correct documents that are required for this particular exercise. Otherwise, it will be an exercise in futility. If in every query that we shall raise, he will be asking for 7 days, he will be asking for 14 days, he will be saying that I have the documents, I didn't come with them. I mean, why, first of all, why were the documents not provided to the Auditor General? On this very question that we are speaking about, the Auditor General says the documents were later given to him, and he was satisfied that indeed this expenditure of 6.2 million, because this is where we came from, actually really happened. Why was it very difficult, Governor? Why was it difficult for the county government of Uasin Gishu to give the Auditor General these documents at that point? Because I am sure this matter would have been closed. So, Honorable Chair, if we find ourselves in this kind of a situation, in every query, give us 7 days. In every query, give us 7 days. I think it is fair that you give them time in totality in terms of the process, in terms of the process.
Okay, Governor, before you respond, let's hear Senator Dulu.
Chair, I had actually been quiet trying to observe on this matter of court cases. It looks like even the status currently given is not neat. And I would urge the governor to go back and really look at this status of the cases currently. Because I have seen even the county secretary saying there are cases that are dormant from the defunct local authority, which means even if they are dormant, at some stage somebody can come and actually bring up the case, and the county ends up losing a lot of money. So I think, Governor, you seriously need to look on these matters of court case so that you are up to date with what is the current status and what is the position of the county government. Unless you do that, you're going to lose a lot of money without actually even being serious or maybe being found liable for any of these matters. I thank you.
Governor?
Chair, I just wanted to point out the status of cases in Annex 8, that these cases are documented, they are all here, but I want to take the advice that I need to be very keen on the same, and it's unfortunate that we don't have a legal officer here or Solicitor General who would have given us the details on the same, but I commit myself to provide.
Auditor General.
Okay, preliminary observation, Governor, maybe I want to borrow the cue from the Field Marshal, Senator Metu, that every question we have raised, you say you need more time to get more documentation. Is it not wise to, at this point, Chair, maybe to get the mind of the governor, we adjourn and give you more time to go and get the proper documents? Because, Chair, what we'll be doing is we'll just be closing over each and every issue without having a conclusion. Unless, Chair, we will be doing it, and if the governor does not supply further information, we write our report and recommend at the plenary for any other consequence that might be for. Because we have seen from audit 1 to where we are, all matters the governor is requesting for more time to look for further information. I don't know what is the feeling of the committee, because in the past we have made a decision concerning such situation.
I think that's why I was referring to the Auditor General. The query, the substantive query raised by the Auditor General was in the 2021-2022 report. And I think that's what has given rise to Annex 8, which the last time you appeared before us, you didn't have this level of detail. And I think we must have cited that. Now we are able to see the detailed number of cases. I think the question that has arisen is a supplementary question, that we must have assurance that the reduction from 666 to 423 is explainable and it does not leave the county exposed. To that extent, since we are on the ground at the moment, please follow up this matter. We are going to say this is not a matter that we have resolved. This is a matter that remains outstanding. So please look at it as prior year issues and inform the Senate accordingly.
And again, maybe in future, you need to come with your legal counsel. I'm scared.
Yeah. So I think on the other issue of concern between that has arisen from Senator Metho and Senator Chirarge, if there's a substantive audit query which has not been addressed and we are seeking further information, we'll take a view at that point. But this was a supplementary question. We want to see the same level of detail that you have put here in Annex 8 for the financial year that we are considering. Honourable members, we will move now to the next issue, which is on procurement of insurance services. Auditor General, you have reported to us that the policy documents have now been provided. Is there anything still outstanding on that matter? There were 11 points that you had highlighted. Is there anything that is outstanding?
Thank you, Chair. The issue number 3, to do with some staff not being on the scheme, number 3 and 4. And number 8 of that amount, I think it was in the other financial year, 2021-2022, a payment to the, of 2021-2022.
So the problem is that staff were not covered and the ex gratia payments or of 61 million.
No, not ex gratia, but I think this is financial statements for 22-23. However, this amount of 61,451,370 related to the financial year 21-22.
Now, Governor, you have seen the audit finding there is 1 page plus a few other paragraphs. And for purposes of management of time, I don't know whether your response is point by point or it's another long narration. So if it's point by point, then let's go to point number 3. Roman 3. 41% of your staff were not covered under the scheme. What is your response?
Thank you, Chair. The 41% members of county staff who are not covered under the scheme are the devolved staff from national government who are under NHIF, comprehensive insurance cover, and ECD teachers on contract basis. you get the Annex 3C, list of devolved staff and contracted ECD teachers.
Auditor General, have you reviewed Annex 3C?
Yes, Chair, we have reviewed Annex 3C. However, there is no evidence that they were under NHIF. And I think some of the ECD teachers were not under any scheme, so it is an issue of equity.
Okay, let's look at number 4 again. You have said you have a problem with the response on number 4.
So does that mean, Chair, that query is not settled?
Yes, because they seem to be related. 3, 4, and even the 61 million, they seem to be related because there seem to be payment for medical expenses for those who are not covered under the scheme.
No, the 61 is not for those under scheme. I think there was a time when in the financial year 21-22, the then insurance provider was terminated, so the county had to pay directly to the hospitals, and they incurred an amount of 61 million. Yeah, the invoices have been provided, but it relates to the financial year 21-22, not 22-23.
Chair, and even looking at Annex 3C, this is just a document, a printout. It does not specify whether it's a document from NHIF or it's just the names, ID number, surname, first name, gender, pay group. It doesn't even indicate that either it was covered by NHIF or which service insurance provider that served on the, following the reading of governor on the issue of, on his responses. I can't see the value of number 3.3 because and teachers on contract basis. So even this printout of these ECD teachers on Annex 3C, it is not indicative of anything. Governor, who prepared your documentation? Because it looks like they was just throwing documents wherever they fit. Because, Chair, what is the essence of this Annex 3C in comparison with the reading of the governor's response? Because it doesn't indicate anything. Even if this was a contract, ECD teachers on contract, it is not even indicative of the same. Or even if they were using abbreviation, they should have even given at the tail end of the Annex 3C.
Chair.
Senator Methu.
In fact, I think these three issues are distinct. Roman 3 and Roman 4, looking at them. And Governor, as you look at your documents, now that you have given us a list of so many people here, 877 people, just the names, their PF number,
yes,
their gender, and their pay group, and their job group. You know, the question was not the number of teachers that you have in Uasin Gishu. The question is that we have such a huge number of people who are not covered by any cover. In your response, you say that these people have been covered by NHIF. What evidence do you have in record that the first person here, Marakwen Susan, no, Tot Ann Cheragat, is covered by NHIF? What evidence do you have in record? Because I wish you even had a sample. Just take page 1 and then give their evidence of being covered, rather than have a list of 877 people, which, I mean, we cannot make anything out of it. And maybe, Chair, finally, I think it is also fair that I mention this through yourself. Sometimes we choose to take written responses. So the document should be able to speak for themselves. They do not require necessarily for the governor to come and explain. If this document, we had said that we are taking written responses, what sense would we have made with this Annex 3C? What is Annex 3C in regards to the query that has been raised by the Auditor General? So, Chair, I would wish that you treat the two separately, let the governor answer on Roman 3, then we shall go to Roman 4.
I agree with you, Senator Methu. I totally agree. Actually, a conversation that has been there on the floor of the House when we were discussing the Isiolo matter is that we cannot be too elastic when it comes to provision of records or provision of evidence. If a county does not, so what we will do is, just as observed by Senator Chirarge, if we find that the records that are not addressing the question, then we shall just reach the conclusion that the expenditure could not be justified or confirmed. Because you cannot be in the space of go back, come again, go back, come again. We have a session that ends end of November, and we must conclude the work that is before us. So, Governor, let's just go back to this matter and deal with the issues, deal with the points, because number 3 is different from number 4.
Yes, it's distinct.
These medical covers, what was the inception date?
Okay, County Secretary, please.
Do we even have a copy of any evidence to show that there is a medical cover, apart from the list that we are seeing?
That's the question. That is the question.
Yeah, the ones who are to be covered under NHIF?
Is there even a letter just to buttress the question by Senator Dulo to show from NHIF that they were covered? Because this is just a list of 876 ECD teachers. Even a copy of NHIF scheme.
So there are 3 limbs to this question, to this query, the 11 issues. One was the procurement, where issues like policy documents were not provided, and I think there was a direct procurement that was done. Auditor General, as far as the procurement procedures are concerned, do you have any queries, or you are satisfied by the documents that you saw?
Thank you, Chair. The procurement was done procedurally. We have not questioned.
Secondly, there's an element of discrimination, which we are dealing with right now. And then thirdly, there's the issue of value for money, whether the 61 million ought to have been paid. Is there any other matter?
No, the rest of the issues raised under this query were satisfactorily responded to.
So in the absence of a schedule showing that alternate insurance arrangement, I don't think that we can reach a conclusion different from the Auditor General's that this was discriminatory practice. When it comes to the 61 million as value for money, Governor, what was the reason for paying 61 million to those various health facilities?
Thank you, Chair. Allow me again to give CEC Finance to explain kindly.
Is it? I think it's close. It's Roman 5. It's raised under Roman 5. Is there a response there under Roman 5? If you are to look at your written response. Yes. Okay. Can you read that?
Okay, County engaged a resolution insurance company on 3rd May 2021 to provide staff medical insurance for the period 3rd May 2021 to 2nd May 2022. As per the contract agreement, the county was to pay the insurance in 2 installments as follows. First installment be paid in May 2021. Second installment to be paid in November 2021. County paid the first installment of Kenya shillings 109,889,760.50 on 28 June 2021 as per the attached RTGS remittance advice. The service provider continued with the services until 14 October 2021 when the contract was terminated due to the breaches of contract. The insurance company was also placed under receivership by the regulator. Following the contract termination, County engaged local hospitals for provision of medical services, which led to the payment of 61,451,370. Consequently, the second installment amounting to 109,889,760.50 which was due to November 2021, was not paid. Resolution Insurance Company later filed a complaint with procurement, PPRA, demanding the payment of the second installment. That is in Annex 3E, 1, contract agreements. Annex 3E, again, second is copy of contract extinction. And Annex 3E, again, the third, contracts with hospitals. 3F, copy of termination letter and communication from PPRA.
So was the complaint by Resolution Insurance entertained? And was the 109 million paid?
Maybe CEC, please, Finance.
So, Honorable Chair, as indicated, we did not pay the second installment of 109. It was not paid.
We are seeing the letter from PPRA dated 2nd of September 2022. And these are very interesting dates. 2nd of September 2022 is just, when did you take your oath of office?
25th August.
25th August. So this was 1 week. 1 week when you're in office, PPRA writes a letter talking about 109 million unpaid, and tells you that it is your obligation to honor contractual obligation to pay the service provider as agreed in the contract agreement to avoid paying interest on overdue amounts. Your response should reach us by 12th of September 2022. Could you share with us your response to that letter by PPRA?
CC, please.
This letter was addressed to the county secretary, and this is the kind of letter you cannot afford not to respond to. Already you have spent 61 million, and someone is telling you to pay another 109 million for services not rendered, and to a company that has effectively shut down. I think we do recall that Resolution went under. Resolution Health went under. So did the county pay this 109 million?
No, we didn't pay, Chairman.
Where is your response to this letter?
County Secretary, please.
Yeah, please give the county secretary a mic.
Honorable Chair, the PPRA were actually communicating a complaint that had been raised by resolution. And at that time, as it has been explained, the contract was terminated, and that is what gave rise to payment of that 61 million directly, which was paid to hospitals, because we had a different arrangement now that the cover was no longer there. So, but we can confirm that this money was not paid, because at that time, resolution was also going under.
County Secretary,
yes.
This letter is addressed to you.
Yes.
It is addressed to you. And the very last call to action is that you should respond by 12th of September 2022.
Yes.
PPRA has told you that someone has complained that you owe them 109 million, and you have been asked to respond. PPRA is a statutory body, to respond by 12th of September 2022.
Yes.
Did you respond?
Yeah, we provided a response, and if you see there, this letter was marked to county attorney, and also the director of procurement, who is also here. There must be a response.
Do we see the response?
Kindly allow us to
because the dates of 2nd September 2022, the other transaction of a legal fee was also around the same window.
Yes.
Around this transition, either people are trying to loot as much as they can, or the incoming government is trying to recover as much as it can.
Yes.
This is not a small matter, and the dates raise a lot of suspicion. 2nd of September, you get a letter from PPRA to pay resolution 109 million, a company that went under. How did you respond to it? My mind must be clear that you never paid this money. My mind must be clear on the outcome of that complaint. And not just my mind, but the minds of the people of Uasin Gishu. Because it would amount to 109 plus 61 million. It would be 170 million that has been paid for services not rendered. Remember, you had already paid the first installment of 109 million, isn't it? The first installment was paid.
Yes.
109 million was paid.
The first was paid, yeah.
The company went under.
Yes.
You had to go directly to hospitals.
Yes.
Spend 61 million.
Yes.
And then you are told to pay 109 million again.
And we never paid.
Where is the evidence? Because that evidence must be part of your response that should have gone out by 12th of September. The letter is Annex 3F. Governor, are you aware of this matter?
Yes, please. That we did not pay the last batch.
Yeah, but where is that evidence? I would be very happy to see that. That's what I'm looking for. Because if I see a letter saying that we, as county government of Uasin Gishu, are not going to pay because of A, B, C, D, and I would be very happy. But the way it is, you might realize that someone in your organization paid that 109 million. So we need to decide whether it was the outgoing or the incoming, because this is 1 week after you are swearing in.
So please, County Secretary, please explain.
Okay, Honorable Chair.
Addition, Chair, you know, even if under the Companies Act, even if the company goes under, there is assets and liability. And during even winding up of that company, there are assets and liabilities. So we need to be told what, just County Secretary, in the interest of time and all, just give us an evidence of the response, either from the county attorney or from the procurement. Just give us your annexes. We are ready to see.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Let us, we should be able to get this. Kindly allow us some few time within as we proceed to get this response.
Is it anywhere in the files that are before us?
Yeah, it is in the legal office, our county attorney's office.
Okay, I'm getting a bit worried now. I'm beginning to get convinced by the assertions of my colleagues, because this is such a big matter. You are the one who has brought it to us. You are the one who has brought this letter to us. You cannot bring to us a letter from PPRA asking you to respond and not attach your response. This is a smoking gun. 2nd of September, 2022. Did we even have a president? A new president by 2nd of September?
No. Yeah?
Huh?
Yeah. He was sworn in on 5th of September.
Yeah, there are a lot of bad things that are happening around during transition.
And, Honorable Chair, allow me to also say that in the second page of that letter, you can also see that PPRA were also asking us to submit
but
some.
Chair, just as the county secretary responds, the county secretary was in office. He's not new.
Are you the one who was being addressed?
I was there, yeah.
So
Yeah,
definitely, if there was a response, then you should have been the one who drafted the response.
Yeah, that's why I'm requested, Chair, that we should be able to get this response, because you can clearly see that we were also required to submit some documents to PPRA, which we did submit.
Yeah, but we are just asking simply, you are to respond to PPRA by the 12th of September, 2022. And this matter, the timelines were so short, it looked like it was an ambush to get money out of the county as fast as possible. The letter was received by the county on 7th of September, and you are required to respond by 12th of September, just in 5 days. This has the hallmarks of a looting attempt.
Yes,
actually,
Chair.
The receiving by the office of the county attorney was on the day the letter was supposed to have been responded to.
On 12th
the
of September.
So the letter is done on 2nd. They're expected to have paid in 10 days. It was received by the county government on the 7th and received by the county attorney on the 12th. This trail is obviously very, very suspicious. Suspicious because if you go back to the just immediate previous page,
You see that the matter had been dormant since the 3rd of May 2021. So all of a sudden, then things are moving very quickly. And it is, if, Mr. Chairman, you allow me to ask this question, whether the governor had a meeting with the team that is before us today, before they came to the Senate, because in every one question that we are raising, the governor says, let the county secretary answer, let the minister for CC for finance answer. I mean, when shall we get to a question that the person who took oath this morning will say that I'm now ready to answer this particular question? On which one is he ready, so that we can then go quickly to that one, so at least we can get some answers from the governor. Beyond the written responses that he has been reading, I've not heard him answer any one question. And that's why I'm persuaded by what Senator Charge had proposed. Since the county secretary is the one that is answering most of the questions, why can't we put him on under oath?
Yes, so that we take serious
Now,
his word.
Governor, this is big money. This is the kind of thing that cannot go unnoticed if you are the CEO of the entity. Someone is demanding 109 million. That's $1 million from your county. Was it paid or not? And if it wasn't paid, is it part of your stock of pending bills? Because it might not have been paid, but they have hidden it there as pending bills. When Exchequer comes, you find that the money has been paid for services not rendered, or was paid subsequently.
Chair, it was not paid.
ESCC, Patricia, she stepped out. I think to avoid splitting hairs, because of the dates on this letter, and the apparent rush to settle this matter in September 2022 at a point of transition, I think this is a matter that we want ESCC to take an interest in, so that we don't waste too much time. ESCC has got the power and the authority to talk to PPRA to follow up this particular matter, so that we assure the people of Uasin Gishu that this was not a looting attempt. Yeah, the dates are extremely suspicious. Could we then, honourable members, proceed to the other issues before us? The senator for Uasin Gishu has stepped out briefly, but he really desired us to look at the projects. And he has advised us that projects would be of great value if we have a conversation around their status. So on other grants and transfers, 3.1, the Auditor General tells me it's a policy matter, and we will take the written responses. And assets from defunct local authorities, this one, the Auditor General says you didn't respond at all. Was there a response?
Yes, Chair.
There was a response from the county?
Yes, there was a response.
Okay, so since we are well aware of the problems of transition, we shall take the written responses. Lack of land ownership documents, I think this is extremely important. 46 parcels of land where titles were not presented. Auditor, just read that finding, and then we deal with that before we proceed to the projects.
Thank you, Chair. Lack of land ownership documents, Annex 6 to the financial statements, that is summary of non-current assets register, discloses non-current assets, historical cost balance carried forward of 17 billion 261 million 271,176 shillings, which includes land with historical cost of 315 million 95,733 shillings. However, ownership documents for 46 parcels of land with historical cost of 202 million 446,669 shillings were not provided for audit review. In the circumstances, the ownership of the 46 parcels of land with historical cost of 202 million 446,669 shillings could not be confirmed. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, what's your response?
Thank you, Chair. In addition, the 202,446,669 Kenya shillings was for the procurement of 46 parcels of lands, out of which acquisition of ownership documents, title deeds, for 14 parcels of land have been obtained. 3 parcels of land acquired were for extension of roads, thus mutations attached. You can look at that at Annex 8, copies of the title deeds and mutations.
So out of 46, you only have 17 titles. So what's the status of the others?
It is ongoing.
So do you have a schedule showing the ones that are ongoing, the LR numbers, the vendors?
Let's look at Annex 8, Chairman.
Annex 8?
Status.
Okay, so Annex 8, seeing 46 entries. There was land that was bought in the year 2015 from a James Kaiger. Title deed is in process. How do you explain that acquisitions done in 2014 and 2015, the titling is still in process? If you look at the last entries on page 3 of 3, those parcels were acquired in 2014 and 2015. How do you explain 10 years later that you've not been able to secure the land?
Chairman, most of these cases was because of succession. It has been delayed.
Senator Omtata, I think you have a little experience in following up some of these land issues in counties where the county buys land, they don't get title, and then they give long stories.
Let me say this for a record, that most of these lands which were acquired, some of them don't have even title deeds in the first place, and there are those who later are going through the challenge of succession. So that is the status, Chairman.
So how do you see in terms of asset management, if you don't own it, you don't claim it. And the accrual basis of accounting that we are going towards will require greater discipline when it comes to recognition of assets. You know, I'm just surprised that you bought land without a title. So what is the process? Isn't there a due diligence that you do before you acquire land? At least I do due diligence before I acquire land as a private investor. Is it different for counties?
Chairman, let me cite a case in a place called Cases, where there is a mother title, but the titles has not been subdivided, and there was been a long court case going on. So in such cases, you will find that it will not be very easy for us to, as a government, to proceed and getting title deeds. And
cases out of the 46, which ones relate to cases?
Especially the ECD. You know, every village will need a ECD in their school. And then they will have somebody providing this land. So I think by this 2014, 2015, 20-something, that was the time that ECDs were being built or established. So I think the case is weird a little bit, because when there is no title deed and there's pressure from the locals to have a school. So I think that's what informed this. So we are still pursuing, until we get the title deeds.
Senator Dulo? Senator Dulo?
Chair, I think the explanation given by the governor, it doesn't make sense. Because all the information he's giving us now verbally should have been put in the report form so that we know the status. And as you have said, there must be due diligence where you actually follow up on a matter to see that the titles are issued in some of the cases. So I think, Governor, in future, maybe your people should be able to put those reports in proper perspective than you struggling to explain here. It doesn't make sense.
I think let's combine that matter with the one that is following, because it also has an issue to do with the land. Non-disclosure of pending bills. And Auditor General, you may read your second paragraph. Moreover, where it starts from moreover. Non-disclosure of pending bills, number 5. There's a second paragraph there that talks about land.
Thank you, Chair. Moreover, the schedule of pending bills provided for audit includes an amount of 97 million shillings owed to a vendor who on 14 June 2023 entered into an agreement to sell a parcel of land to the county government of Uasin Gishu for 97 million shillings. However, the name of the registered owner shown in the certificate of lease for the parcel of land differs from the name of the registered owner as per the valuation report issued by the county valuer, reference to that, dated 31st May 2023. Further, the valuation report issued by the county valuer does not give details of the improvements and structures currently developed within the parcel of land, only putting a value of 22,000 shillings on the improvements. In the circumstances, the accuracy and completeness of pending staff payables and other pending payables balances of 126,341,238 shillings and 13,708,411 shillings, respectively, totaling to 140,049,649 shillings, could not be confirmed.
Governor, do you have title to this one?
Yes.
97 million.
The title, yes.
And as to the question raised by the Auditor General, the variances in names between the registered owner.
Okay. The 97 million was owed to a vendor who had sold a parcel of land to the county. During the period under review, the seller was on the process of transferring the name from her late husband to her name, hence the variance between the name of the registered owner in the certificate of lease to the parcel of land from the name of the registered owner as per the valuation report issued by the county valuer. The process was completed and attached is the copy of the title deed. Annex 9A, and then that copy of analysis of pending accounts payable, and then Annex 9B, copy of title deed, 9 copies for logbooks and list of vehicles. That is for the previous one. But you look at Annex 9B.
So who was paid?
Yes.
Who was paid?
So Jamutai, some name Jamutai. Yes.
Auditor General.
Thank you, Chair. I think the explanation given is satisfactory, given that the piece of land the owner and what was in the name of the owner in the title deed and the other name in the valuation report, the county was able to explain the variances in the names. So we were satisfied with the explanation.
Okay, so Governor, what commitment are we making? Because we must make a resolution on the 46 or the 46 less 17 titles.
Chair, give us 6 months.
Are you fully in control of the process?
There are those who are possible, but there are those who will a little bit linger. But those who are possible, kindly you give us around 2-3 months, kindly.
Senator Chirake?
Governor, you are saying the person who was paid this amount of 97 million was Rael Chemutai Kibor.
Yes.
Where is the sale agreement and the payment, the transfer, number one? Number two, this 97 million, this land, what was the intention or purpose of purchasing this land by the county government of Uasin Gishu? Because what I'm seeing, Chair, here is just a copy of title deed. Where is the transfer that has been done? Such, where is the sale agreement? Because the fact that we are providing that Israel Chemutai Kibor does not prove that she is the one who 97 million was paid for. And why were you acquiring this land? So where is the evidence to that effect? Because I can see 9C, it's about vehicles. Even 9A is about, this one is pending, this is pending accounts. So where is the proof that Israel Chemutai Kibor that was paid this 97 million? Where is the sale agreement, the search that was done, the transfer, sign of transfer document, because I want to believe this amount was paid in full? And where is the, you know, Governor, under the Constitution, there is what we call compulsory acquisition. And you remember the land that is next to Rivertex. And I know Okiya Mtata is fully aware of this. Is it the Cherunya land or something like that, that in the 70s, the national government acquired land along Rivertex, but later they didn't do with the intention that they did want to intend. That land was reverted to the original owners. So where is the need assessment by the county government of Uasin Gishu that they needed to buy land worth 97 billion, and for what purpose? So this, the presence of the title deed governor of Rael Chemutai Kibor is not sufficient enough. And I don't know why the OAG would say this is sufficient, yet this is just a title deed. You can even put a title deed of Moses Otieno Kajwang, and it can be thrown here and attached. How will we know he is the one who was paid? So, Governor, where is the documentation, the need assessment, the land search report, the transfer document, the due diligence report, and the need to buy this land?
Governor?
Chairman, most of those documents were handed over to Auditor General.
But Governor, this is not the OAG document.
No, I'm saying the documents. Maybe we didn't attach, but the documents are there.
You know, there must be a problem with your asset management, particularly with regards to land, because there are 3 audit observations. There are 3. There's a third one under irregularities in purchase of land, where the Auditor General is talking about 13 parcels of land. And when you see the Auditor General raise a related issue 3 times, then there's a serious problem. There's a serious problem when it comes to that. And I know, like, the municipalities, the big municipalities, now Eldoret is a city. This delayed transfer of assets and liabilities, do you have full visibility on your assets, particularly your land holdings? More so those that have been allotted to citizens. Do you have a register that is comprehensive?
Okay, thank you, Chair. I think I wish to confirm that we have an asset register, and for the purpose of answering Honorable Jerarche's question, at the bottom of the title deed, the RTGS transfers to the said owner. I think what we missed to attach was the other process of documentation, the original title owner, the transfer, but those were submitted during the audit process. I think what we wanted to clear off was the person whom we paid was the name that had entered into a contract with Gishu County government. So I think
Chief Officer, you cannot go away with the first assertion that you made.
Yes.
You cannot have a complete asset register when you still have this non-disclosure of assets inherited from defunct local authorities. That was my question.
Oh, yes. I think the ones that we don't have, which the auditor was having problems with us, are the parcels of lands.
Leave alone the auditor. I'm asking a global question now.
Yes.
Eldoret as a city, Uasin Gishu, there were allotments that were made during the municipality days. Do you have full visibility of that? Considering that the IGRTC process has taken that long. Governor, do you have full visibility?
Sorry, I'm consulting again. We have not finished it, listing it, but we have.
No, Governor, I think I want you to give us a response that is more useful, because we sit in these other committees that are pushing for this process. The devolution committee that granted Eldoret city status is dealing with this matter. And if you're going to tell me that you are okay in Eldoret, you'll be 1 out of 47 counties.
Let the county secretary answer, Chairman, please.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. As is happening across all the counties, this process of transfer of assets that were inherited from the defunct authorities and the assets that related to devolved functions is still on, and it is being headed by the State Department of Devolution and the IGRTC. However, in Uasin Gishu, we are at an advanced stage. As we speak, I think we have identified all the assets. Valuation is ongoing, and what is remaining is transfer, and that process...
Of order, Chair. I thought the issue of valuation is in court. How sure are you certain with the process, or it is not in court? Why are you lying? And that is why, Chair, I still need that the county secretary and people answering questions should go under oath, because this committee will be forever misled.
Can we distinguish between valuation of assets and valuation role?
Valuation role is the issue that is in the court, but the issue of valuation of assets is ongoing by the State Department of Devolution.
But how can you do valuation without valuation role?
Valuation role is relating to the parcels of land and all the issue of rates, but this one is assets. This one is valuation of assets, and it's being undertaken.
Is there a complete asset register?
Not yet.
Don't give us a false sense of comfort. Yes. And Governor, if something is not working, just say it as it is, because we have been here. We know the problems around asset management. And we want to hear these voices coming from governors. That is not a trick question. What is out of order is the assets that you've acquired without securing title. But the historical assets inherited, we want to hear from you the challenges or the progress that you're making. So don't give us a false sense of comfort. I'm yet to come across a governor who's happy and comfortable that what was owned by the defunct municipalities, they are fully aware of who's holding them. Because in many municipalities, land has disappeared. And unscrupulous people, but also insiders who excluded from the asset register. So I think these issues of land, we are not resolving them. They must remain in view. Maybe Senator Mtata, you have not gone on record.
But maybe not. My governor was before the other committee, so I spent a lot of time there.
Okay.
Your Excellency, my name is Okio Mtata Koti, Senator from Busia and a member of this committee. And, so that asset register, is it audited? The one that you asset register for Uasin Gishu?
Not yet, Senator. Yes, through the chair.
So maybe you might need to do some auditing so that you can be really very sure of what you have, and also through public participation, the population can expose to you the land that belongs to the public that you may not be aware of. So try to do that so that next time we meet, we have a clearer picture, because I'm a man who boasts that I live between two cities, Kisumu and Eldoret. Now, we want to enjoy that city status where things are very efficient, water comes at the right pressure, and things like those. So please give us a proper asset register of the city and then the county, so that we can, when we discuss, we know exactly this is audited, and through that audit, you can identify issues that require your attention, so that you don't have to go up and down between them. Thank you, Excellency.
Chair, just so that I still insist, I've seen the CEO trying to say that the payment was made to this individual. Chair, can you direct the county to provide sale agreement? We want to know, by the time the OAG was observing that the person, and you know, the governor, there should be proof of succession. You cannot say I was being paid instead of somebody else. So can we get the sale agreement to know who specifically was paid, number one? Number two, the due diligence of the need to acquire this 97 million land. And finally, Chair, the transfer, the sign of the transfer of land, because as you have said, when you buy land as an individual, the moment you have bought it complete, there must be signed transfer form to your name after the full payment of the consideration. This, the fact that there is a copy of title deed of Rael Chemutai Kibor is not sufficient before the committee to show that she was paid 97 million. And what was the need and intention of the payment of 97 million?
Senator Moto?
I think another very important issue is, yeah, the documents are important, but what was being bought and for what purpose? Because this land looks like it's a quarter an acre, and if the intention was to do a market, I don't know if it was a supermarket, but quarter an acre, and what's the value of land in Eldoret? Quarter an acre for 97 million is almost higher than Nairobi.
Yes.
The request made by Senator Chirarke is granted. We need to get visibility on those documents, including that explanation on the rationale, because obviously there was a procurement plan, there was a justification for the purchase. I think let's just be neat and have those documents. If you had given them to the Auditor General, we are also now interested in seeing them. 97 million is a lot of money. So if the documents are available, then within, you had asked for 14 days to provide some documents. Let's put them within the 14-day window.
Thank you, Chair. Let me also say, Kidogo Chair, that the purpose of this land was to expand our market. And there is a big project coming up, and it was part of just as next parcel next to the land. That was the purpose, within the CBD itself. And there were certain buildings in it. That's why the cost went up.
Yeah, and there was a budget. It was in your development plan, or it was as part of the moment purchase?
That was in the budget, Chairman.
Okay. Honorable Chair, Public Accounts Committee, is it something that you can recall?
Are you aware?
This was done in 2023. You were in the Assembly?
Guys, I've just been corrected. The piece of land is 1/8 of an acre, not a quarter.
1/8 of an acre at
97 million in Eldoret.
Okay. So there has to be some value for money questions
There
around
should
it.
be evaluation report on the sale asset, because the building would be very old.
Honorable Chair Park or Chair Budget County Assembly, is it something that has come to your attention?
Yes, it has come. It was there, and it had some buildings. But it is good that we check further.
The valuation says that the developments are worth 20,000.
22,000 to be precise.
As per the auditor's report.
Yes, 22,000 shillings only.
But for sure, if it was 22,000,
yes,
22,000 or 22 million.
22,000. And this is why when we started, we said we would be very happy when the Assembly has looked at these things.
Yeah.
Because us sitting in Nairobi, we go by the report of the Auditor General that tells us that the developments therein were valued at...
in fact, I can read for them. Further, the valuation report is issued by the county valuer does not give details of the improvements and structures currently developed within the parcel of land, only putting Kenya shillings 22,000 on the improvements. So how comes the county paid 97 million? And they are saying they were assets and structures. And this is in the Auditor General's report.
So, Governor, can you provide I hope you took note of the documents requested by Senator Cherargei. Those were very valid requests. Then we can look at that and ask ourselves whether there was value for money. And also include your, include the budget line, your procurement plan, the justification. OAG, when it comes to purchase of land, do you ask for a professional opinion? I thought a professional opinion precedes every procurement decision.
Chair, I think the law is that a government valuer, not a commercial valuer, does the valuation. And if it's a commercial valuer, the marking scheme will be the valuation by the government valuer for public assets.
But under PPDA, isn't there another requirement for a professional opinion by the head of the procuring entity?
It has to be.
Patrick.
Thank you, Chair. The requirement to have a professional opinion is a requirement. And in this particular case, the government valuer who gave a value of 22,000 should have really informed the county government whether they should have gone ahead and procured this property at 97 million.
Okay.
Yes.
So that valuer's report that you have referred to,
yes,
I think should be part of what we are provided with in the next 14 days. And Governor, please make sure that it is a complete set, because if we find gaps, then we'll be asking, and Patricia has taken a very long break today, we'll be asking EACC to look at it to be able to fill the gaps.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, for 14 days is fair?
It's fair.
Okay, we now proceed to the projects. There are a number of HR issues where we'll take the written responses, but the Senator Uasin Gishu is back, and as we had said, we needed to have an update on the projects. Let's go to acquisition of assets, delay in upgrading 64 Stadium. Senator Methu.
May you allow me very, very, very quickly in under 1 minute to just, as we rush or brush through the issues on compensation of employees, just one question.
Are you being allowed as the chair?
Yeah, I will allow him to prosecute because when we did the brief earlier, you are not present, but I'll guide you whether it has already been addressed.
In fact, whether it has been addressed, I'll be very happy. Just to get to know what is the number of employees of the Uasin Gishu County Government are currently paid outside the Integrated Personal and Payroll Database, IPPD. Just the number who are paid outside.
Yeah,
and the reason
that's okay. Governor?
Yes, let the CEO, please.
Personnel outside IPPD?
But sure, Governor, that is you do not even need to ask the county secretary. It's a straightforward matter.
Sorry. This thing is documented, so I will not say it out of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. I think that's a very quick question, so that we spend more time on projects. Senator Umtata.
I just wanted to go. I just noticed looking at the title deed. It's a leasehold, which means the property belongs to the county that we are buying for 97 million.
So the county bought its land for 97 million?
Yes. Why not just cancel the lease and the deal? There must be a take over the land if there was need for the need.
Chair.
Yeah, no, to avoid reopening debate, but I'll give you an opportunity. But to avoid reopening debate, we have asked for very clear documentation, as canvassed by Senator Cherargei, which will then help us to understand that particular aspect raised by Senator Umtata. But Senator Uasin Gishu?
No, I have since withdrawn. I wanted to ask the Senator Umtata now that he has a lease for his house in Nairobi. does it mean that he forfeits the rights of that lease? If should the government want to acquire it? When Sakaja wants to do a road, does it mean that he forfeits the rights of that property? But I've withdrawn my statement. That's clear.
Yeah, so we allow us to take, we will take a view, and even when we are doing our report writing, we'll, all of us will be present. We'll take a view once those records have been presented to the Senate.
In addition to Senator Meto's IPPD, maybe, Governor, these people who are supposed to retire, have they retired? And then these acting capacity appointments, there are many. There are 29 members who have been appointed in acting capacity. And they have earned for more than 6 months, which is contrary to Labor Relations Act. And Article 41, earning 3.1 million. These 29 members were acting in 2.3. So have these people retired? You know, there are many Gen Zs without job, and you have 54 officers who are supposed to retire. You wanted to look like Nandi, where you had an 86-year-old in the payroll of a county. So have they retired, these 54, and also these 29 members? Why did you fire them or absorb them? Because this is beyond the, what is the fate apart from the IPPD? Maybe you can answer the three questions through that.
Okay, Governor, we had resorted to your written responses, but kindly give us very direct responses. Because the question asked by Senator Methu, he didn't pluck it from the air. It should be within the response to 2.1.
I got the processing of payroll outside IPPD was attributed by the payments that could not be captured.
Mr. Chairman, allow me to interject. I didn't ask the governor to read this written submission because I think this is in response to the 2022-2023 financial year. And my question is very specific and very simple. The easiest of all, how many members of your staff establishment are outside IPPD?
Okay, Governor, direct. We have agreed we are taking your written responses, but that question has not been answered in the written response.
Okay, Director Salaries. Finance.
Chair, you know these numbers keep on changing. They are not static all along because casuals are engaged 2 months, you fire them, you bring them on board. But my estimated figure is 420.
Against what staff establishment?
Against a staff establishment of 4,600.
It's 10%. Senator Dulo?
I just wanted to hear from the governor on the non-compliance with the law on staff ethnic diversity. And I thought Eldoret is a county of almost everyone. Yeah. Yes, exactly. So why are you having bias against the other communities?
Okay, since it's substantive, let's deal with those who have attained mandatory retirement age. Against your written responses, we cannot take them as they are. It's a very brief one. Can you read your written response? That was in respect to Senator Cherargei's question. Then we come to Senator Dulo's question.
And maybe just the director, have you started this 400 and something plus outside IPPD? Is there a plan to go to IPPD? Maybe so that you become neater in your answer.
Chair, majority of them are casuals, but for those who are on P&P, yes, we...
How many are outside IPPD that are P&P?
Around 100.
So what is the progress of integrating them to IPPD?
We are on the process. These are the new employees that we brought on board around January, February this year.
So when you say you are on progress, how long will it take?
Probably by the end of this year, we will all be on board, all of them.
Yes, that issue of payment outside IPPD, it is not resolved. Auditor General, keep it in view. The retirement, before you come to ethnic diversity, in your response, you have not given anything specific. People serving despite attaining mandatory retirement age. There were 54 officers. Are they still serving?
County Secretary, please. Chair.
Chair.
It's your Senator, Madam.
Yes, maybe before the County Secretary answers that question, is the County Secretary still in office? I thought his term expired.
Yeah, I'm leaving end of this month.
Okay.
Was it extended? Has it been extended?
I'm leaving end of November.
So your term expires. Through the chair, your term expires in
30th
November.
Yes.
30th November.
Governor, can you confirm that?
Confirm.
Please.
What are you confirming?
I've since advertised for another County Secretary.
Is the current County Secretary validly in office?
Yes.
So is properly before us?
Yes, please.
Shouldn't he be on terminal leave?
A terminal leave.
I'm actually beginning terminal leave on 1st November.
On 1st?
November.
Senator Mandago?
There's confusion. There is no way you can be leaving by end of the month and you are beginning terminal leave. But it suffices to say, even if an officer is on terminal leave, he's still in service.
He can still be called.
He can still be called to answer questions.
Yeah, I think that's important disclosure, but I agree with that conclusion. But Governor, you need to move with speed to staff two very important positions, the County Attorney and the County Secretary. If you have gaps in those positions, you are going to have a lot of problems.
Chair, Governor, have you advertised the two positions?
Yes, I have done.
So when was the deadline of submitting for those positions?
County Secretary.
It's just an obvious answer.
I think the process of recruitment of county attorney is already interviews, I think, were conducted. Yeah.
What about your office?
My office, then there was that new law that required the county assembly to first of all approve the panel, which they have done. And I think there should be an advert coming up. Yeah, there's an advert coming for county secretary this week.
Oh, so there's an advert likely this week?
Yes.
Are you still eligible to apply?
No.
Are you one of those beyond mandatory retirement age?
No.
Okay.
But I wanted to add a point, Chair, there. That
I think, members, let's come back to this report. We still have a lot of things to do. There are 54 officers who are in office beyond retirement age. What do you have to say about that? Because your written response does not address it. At the minimum, you should have told us these are the 54, these are their ages, these are their positions, these are the reasons why they're in service, or this is the date when they exited service. Do we have anything like that before us?
Yeah, Honorable Chair, that information can be provided, but I only wanted to add.
Where is it? I'm looking at your management response on page 17 of 35. You have a very, very brief response there.
Yeah, we will provide, Chair, plus those who are having disability, because people living with disability can serve up to 65 years.
So are the 54 all persons with disability?
No.
So who are these 54 officers? You know, when you redact information...
These are people who are serving on contract and who are engaged on contract, and they have beyond 60 years, and also those ones who are disabled.
That is necessary to keep them beyond 60, because if they have retired, you have other many people who are ready to work for the county. Why do you keep them?
The contractual officers are probably senior officers. They could be CECs or those in higher positions who are serving.
But how do we know? Because this exercise is not a speculative exercise.
And again, Chair, how can you give somebody contract beyond his age of retirement?
Senator Chair, let me help you. There is no CC who is above 60 in that CCM one a bit. You know, I think it's extremely important that you become a little bit honest. What governs people being appointed beyond 60?
The governor? The governor is,
not yet 60. He's
I'm not yet 60 unless you want to push me there.
He's my age mate.
Almost 60.
No, I'm age mate of Mandago.
He's my age mate. Yeah, Gerardo, we have been around for a while, but we are not yet expired. But I wanted to say, Chair, you know it is only under exceptional circumstances. And what the law provides for is unless you have exceptional skills that cannot be found. As far as I'm concerned, as Senator of that county, we have sufficient skills in young people. There is no reason absolutely why we should keep people on payroll who are above 60.
And that's why I take great exception that on a matter that is so straightforward, instead of listing the 54 plus the 82 and giving us a current status, you have chosen to write a one-paragraph, a one-sentence story. Governor, could you just read your